Straighten it out.
Is that better?
There you go. All right.
Good morning, my name is Robyn. I will first start off with a statement made by Mark Twain. The problem with the world today is not that people know little, but it's the fact that they don't know much that isn't so. A large number of you are aware that the earthquake and tsunami has occurred in Japan. But the problem is that the news reporters fail to inform you is actually how a nuclear meltdown occurs. I will now share that with you. Stated by the Christian source Monitor, it is stated that a nuclear meltdown is super low, but it is deemed super low, but a electric shortage is actually deemed highly likely. So therefore, that is some food for thought and no need to be scared. I will now share with you my first 3 main points. The first one will be about the understanding of nuclear energy. The second one is the process of a nuclear meltdown. And then the third one will actually be about the unnecessary panic about radiation traveling from Japan. I will now start off with the first point. Let me help you understand nuclear energy better. I want you to think of nuclear, like a reactor, as a glowing hot coal. And coal and oil are actually scars here, and that's how you burn fossil fuels. But this actually releases pollution into the air, which also causes greenhouse gases and global warming. But with actually nuclear transplant, this actually burns electricity, and it's actually natural and does not release any greenhouse gases. Back to the core. Let me help you think of it as a nuclear reactor, and actually in a nuclear transplant, a nuclear plant, the electricity heats the water, and the water is turned into steam. The steam then drives a turbine, which then creates a generator, and this is what causes that. Also, nuclear fission. Nuclear fission, you can also think of it as a pyramid of tomatoes. Start off with the first tomato and let it bounce down. This obviously knocks down the second one, which then bounces off into the third one, and there and so forth. All this knocking and bumping down is actually causing heat, and this is what nuclear fission is. Now that I've simplified nuclear fission and nuclear energy, we can now go on to the process of a nuclear meltdown. A nuclear meltdown occurs, there are actually fuel rods that are actually in this generator in the power plant, and when it gets too hot, it obviously melts. But what happens is, in the rods, there's actually spaces, and in these spaces, water is poured in to cool them down, but if these spaces are actually blocked, then this therefore causes a meltdown. Also within this meltdown, you will have to pour large gallons of water, which is what they did. The government actually issued it. But the problem was that these were so old and so rusted that they were actually put in the 1970s, so therefore the water didn't really go as planned. And then also I will now move on to my third point, which is about the unnecessary panic of traveling radiation. A large number of people actually went and purchased iodine pills over the internet. There's actually a black market for the iodine pills, and you shouldn't necessarily purchase them because you don't know what is actually contained in these, and a large number of West Coast civilians are taking them. Because what they did is all along the West Coast, they put like meter detectors, and this helped detect the actual radiation. But there's actually only one detection, and this was in Sacramento, California, but it was only 1/1,000,000 of uranium, which is actually natural from rocks and the sun, so there's no panic at all. But people still went against this information and went and purchased these iodine pills. They don't know what the risks and effects are, but they did it anyways. Let me tell you what actually iodine is. There are two forms, actually. There is non-radioactive and radioactive. Non-radioactive doesn't really do much harm, but radioactive does. And then within these pills, the pills are taken, but you're only supposed to take 130 milligrams for adults. And if you're 3 to 18 years old, you're only supposed to take 65 milligrams. The children that are 150 pounds and over, they should still take the adult dosage. Also within these, the iodine pills actually don't even stop radiation. If it's in your body, it's in your body. It only stops the radiation in your thyroid, which is located here. And all it does is actually, it only works if you get the radioactive if you get radioactive. If you don't have the non-radioactive, it doesn't work. What happens is the pill actually, you take it, the one dosage, it stops the thyroid and it stops the actual emission of radiation only for 24 hours. This is enough for the body to sustain, and also the government actually issues you to take it for a few days just as a precaution. Radiation can be found in the water and in the food, and that's why it's taken the precaution to take them. The benefits far more weigh out the risk. The risk of actually taking these pills is a rash, inflammation, or actually it affects the intestine area. So that's basically it. Now that I've shared with you my 3 points, I will go through them once again. The first point was I actually helped you understand and simplify the understanding of nuclear energy. The second point was the process of a nuclear meltdown. And the third point was the unnecessary panic about the traveling radiation from Japan. I've done many hours of research over this, and I have now been more aware, and it helped me actually not learn to panic in natural disaster situations. And I hope that you have learned something too. Thank you.